Umar Merab has been in the UFC since 2021 and has had 6 fights since, with his only notable win being Corey Sandhagen. I would include Al Khan, but he doesn't have enough experience in the UFC for me to call him a good fighter. Whereas Corey Sandhagen has wins over Chito Vera, Song Yadong, and Rob Font. He arguably beat TJ Dillashaw, so Umar's win over Corey should not be underestimated. We know how capable he is in all realms of MMA, striking, and grappling. I believe Merab is a much better grappler than Umar, and that might sound crazy to some people, but watch his fight with Corey. I believe Corey won rounds 1 and 2, and Umar won rounds 3, 4, and 5. Rounds 4 and 5 were pretty dominant. I would say he obviously won them. Round 3, on the other hand, he narrowly won it because of the control time and just slightly outstriking Corey Sandhagen. Round 1, even on the UFC website, it says Corey won round 1, outlanding Umar by 2 strikes. Round 2, the website says Umar landed more strikes than Corey, but when I was watching, I felt like Corey landed more. But I guess the UFC didn't count some of Corey's strikes as significant, even though he seemed to have been landing with the same power as Umar. What would happen is Corey throws a leg kick, Umar counters, vice versa. But I'm not a judge. I don't see it from their lens, so we move on. Corey got outstriked by Umar for the most part, especially in the later rounds, but he looked really good in the first 2 rounds. In the second round, he landed 2 very decent hooks. I would say the power was medium. It wasn't good enough to knock him out, but it was pretty good. As well as in the first round, he was doing good with the leg kicks. Maybe every now and then he would throw a body kick, but then it would land on Umar's arms. In the early rounds, I think the taller guy has the upper hand. The reach, it's just an advantage. And Umar seemed to have figured that out in the last 3 rounds. And he found his range and he mixed in the takedowns. But when it comes to the grappling, Corey performed extraordinarily well. I didn't think Corey was going to have that much success defending the takedowns from Umar. I wouldn't say Umar is as good as Khabib or Islam, but he is a Dagestani at the end of the day. He should have the upper hand in grappling, which he did, but not as much as we thought he would. Corey was defending the takedowns early in the fight, and only in the 4th round we saw Umar having a lot of success with the takedown, where he managed to get Corey in full guard. If I'm correct, it was the 4th round, either the 4th or the 5th. The reason why I'm not so confident in Umar beating Merab is there's some unanswered questions about Umar's grappling. I wouldn't say striking. We know just how good he is in striking. Heck, anyone in the top 5 is probably a better striker than Merab. Hence him having to always wrestle, because he knows he's not good at striking. But when it comes to grappling, there are a few guys that can actually compete with Merab. We saw what he did to guys like Pierre de Jan. Pierre de Jan is a good fighter, man. We saw Aljo wasn't able to have success with his grappling in their first fight. We saw Merab beat Sean O'Malley in pretty much every round in a 5-round fight. He won all 5 rounds. I watched that fight myself with my brother. We were supporting Sean O'Malley, and Sean had a very disappointing performance. But he's not all to blame. I think Merab is just that good. And Sean O'Malley fought Aljo, and Aljo wasn't able to take down Sean in the first round. The second round, he got knocked out. So I guess there were some unanswered questions about Sean O'Malley's grappling in that fight as well. But Sean has fought so many guys, and so has Merab. Merab also beat Henry Cejudo, whom is an Olympic gold medalist. We saw what he did to him in there. He picked him up like he was his little brother. This is an Olympic gold medalist. Umar is not even an Olympic qualifier when it comes to wrestling. But I do have to remember that this is MMA grappling. This is not Olympic wrestling. This is not judo. This is not jiu-jitsu. This is mixed martial arts. The chance that Umar is a better grappler than Merab. But until we see Umar fight more, we just don't know the answer to that question. But what I will tell you is that you should not bet on this fight. I guarantee you this fight is a lot closer than some of y'all think. People are going to bet on Umar just because he's from Dagestan, which isn't a bad approach, but you have to see the bigger picture. Umar is not fighting some nobody. He's fighting Merab, who's on a 10, if not 11 fight win streak, who's a grappler himself, who's a chain wrestler, who beat Pierre de Jan, who bullied Pierre de Jan, who bullied Sean O'Malley for 5 rounds. Those were 2 dominant performances. Okay, Sean O'Malley was pretty boring, but it was still dominant. And this isn't someone you should be confidently betting against. But let me know what you think in the comments, guys.